Duke of Sussex's needless legal action against the world's most read newspaper, the Daily Mail.
I can never have peace with my family unless the truth is out.
London morning, March 4th, 2026. Buckingham Palace has finally shattered Prince Harry's last financial illusion with a statement so blunt it sent shockwaves through royal watchers. Just hours after a legal dossier arrived demanding a staggering $59 million in legal costs from Harry's California-based legal team, King Charles III ended weeks of silence with a cold, unmistakable message. The timing was no accident. The statement came immediately after the king wrapped up a demanding schedule at Northwood Permanent Joint Headquarters, a location many see as a clear signal of distance from his son, while Harry remained in London dealing with court proceedings. According to palace sources, King Charles made the position brutally clear. The British monarchy has no obligation, no responsibility, and absolutely no intention of paying even a single penny toward debts tied to Harry's personal legal fights. The king reportedly warned about this path long ago. As one remark circulating within royal circles puts it, "Suing the press is a fatal mistake. I warned him about long ago. Who throw themselves into the fire cannot demand that others compensate them for their own burns." The statement did more than reject a bill. It marked what insiders describe as a final severing of financial ties between Harry and the sovereign grant. The situation exploded late on March 3rd when pressure from rising legal costs began closing in on Harry after the collapse of his privacy case against Associated Newspapers Limited, the publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail, on Sunday. In response, a demand was reportedly sent suggesting the palace should take responsibility for the massive legal expenses. Harry's argument was that he had stepped forward to challenge media narratives tied to the royal family and protect the institution's reputation, and therefore the monarchy should cover the cost. Harry also claimed that the royal family's past silence forced him to spend his own fortune pursuing what he viewed as justice. But the detailed breakdown attached to the $59 million invoice reportedly left palace officials stunned. According to sources familiar with the internal review, the list went far beyond normal legal costs and quickly raised eyebrows inside royal financial offices. The document reportedly included $15 million for the legal team led by David Sherborne, along with $12 million set aside for possible court-ordered damages linked to the case. Another $5 million was listed for private security during Harry's stays in London, while a controversial $10 million honor restoration fee appeared in the filing, a figure allegedly tied to Harry's own assessment of the effort he put into defending his reputation. The most astonishing line item came at the end, a massive $17 million labeled Opportunity Cost and Income Compensation, which reportedly covered projects in the United States that Harry claimed he had to pause while focusing on the UK trial. Altogether, the numbers added up to the explosive $59 million total, just as the privacy lawsuit itself began unraveling inside the royal courts of justice. Only days earlier, Harry had spoken publicly with confidence about winning the case. But behind the scenes, the legal atmosphere was shifting fast. Reports from inside the courtroom described growing pressure as key testimony weakened parts of the claim, and the strategy began to wobble under scrutiny. The mood surrounding the case changed quickly, and the once confident predictions suddenly looked far less certain. King Charles's response on March 4th delivered a crushing blow to any hope that the palace might step in financially. While Harry continued presenting testimony that stirred intense media attention, the king maintained a deliberate distance, geographically and politically. No signals of support, no quiet approval, nothing that could be interpreted as backing the legal fight. That silence spoke louder than any royal statement, despite stories Harry reportedly tried to circulate through certain U.S. tabloids, ituation in order to protect her independent projects and assets. What began as a legal challenge about privacy has quickly transformed into a crisis touching reputation, finances, and public perception. From the palace perspective, the message remains firm. King Charles has reportedly made it clear that the monarchy will not act as a financial safety net for disputes that stem from personal legal decisions. The $59 million demand Harry presented is being viewed inside royal financial offices as a non-starter. What once was framed as a fight over honor has now turned into something far more personal, a battle over credibility, reputation, and survival in the public arena. Inside courtroom 73, the atmosphere shifted dramatically as the proceedings intensified. What had once looked like the centerpiece of Prince Harry's multi-million-dollar legal strategy suddenly collapsed under scrutiny. For months, Harry and his high-profile attorney, David Sherborne, had presented private investigator Gavin Burrows as their key insider, the witness who would expose years of alleged wrongdoing by the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday, both published by Associated Newspapers Limited. Burrows was expected to deliver testimony describing alleged phone hacking and aggressive information gathering methods used by tabloids. His statements were meant to be the moment that would change everything in the case. But in a stunning turn inside the courtroom, the narrative flipped completely. Standing under oath, Gavin Burrows withdrew key allegations and began dismantling the evidence piece by piece. According to his testimony, documents that had been presented as proof, including lists of supposed targets and records of intercepted calls, were not authentic materials connected to the newspapers. Instead, Burrows admitted they had been constructed to match a specific narrative that investigators were trying to build. The explanation behind this admission shocked observers in the courtroom. Burrows told the court he had been under severe financial strain at the time and felt pressure tied to promises of future opportunities. According to his testimony, discussions around a potential book deal and consulting arrangements were linked to the success of the case. During questioning, Burrows reportedly told the court, "I was a man looking for a way out, and I was told exactly what the truth needed to look like." He then added a line that rippled through the courtroom. "It wasn't the truth. It was a script." Legal analysts quickly described the moment as devastating for the case. Without Burrows serving as the central witness, the lawsuit lost a major pillar supporting its claims. Observers inside the Royal Courts of Justice reported that Prince Harry, who had appeared confident in the days leading up to the hearing, reacted with visible frustration as the testimony unfolded. The courtroom drama did not stop with the collapse of the key testimony. In fact, the fallout may be even bigger than anyone expected. Legal analysts say the situation has now opened the door for Associated Newspapers Limited's defense team, led by the formidable barrister Anthony White, to explore a serious counterattack. If it were proven that Harry's legal team knew, or even suspected, that Gavin Burrows' material was unreliable or manufactured, the consequences could stretch far beyond losing the case. The Duke could potentially face investigations tied to interfering with the course of justice, a scenario that would send the entire dispute into dangerous territory. Then came another moment that stunned the courtroom. Rebecca English, the respected royal editor of the Daily Mail, took the stand and delivered testimony that directly challenged one of Harry's long-standing accusations. For years, Harry had insisted that a 2004 article about his relationship with Chelsea Davy, which described private details of a conversation around a campfire during a trip to Botswana, could only have been obtained through illegal phone interception. But English calmly dismantled that claim with a very different explanation. According to her testimony, there was no secret surveillance operation, no covert hacking, and no hidden network of spies gathering royal gossip. She told the court plainly, there was no Bond-style espionage. There were no hackers in the bushes. Instead, the information had reportedly come from someone far closer to Harry himself. English explained that a person from Harry's own social circle had contacted the newspaper and shared the story directly with the newsroom. According to the account presented in court, that individual provided details about what Harry had said during the Botswana campfire conversation. The motivation, as suggested during testimony, may have involved personal gain, attention, or simple access to media connections. The implication hit the courtroom like a thunderclap. If true, the leak did not come from technology or illegal surveillance. It came from within Harry's own trusted circle. That contrast between the dramatic hacking allegations and the possibility of an insider conversation has left commentators questioning the entire narrative surrounding the case. Meanwhile, the financial stakes continue to climb at a terrifying pace. With Burroughs' testimony now discredited, legal experts say Harry could be responsible for paying Associated Newspapers Limited's legal costs, which are estimated to exceed £10 million, roughly $12.7 million US. For anyone, that kind of bill would be crushing, and critics argue the Duke may already be under pressure financially. Reports suggest that some of Harry's major income streams, including the early success of his memoir Spare and previous media deals, may not be generating the same momentum they once did. At the same time, maintaining a high-profile lifestyle while fighting prolonged legal battles can burn through resources quickly. As of March 4, 2026, the case has clearly shifted away from the original issue of privacy. Instead, it has become a fierce fight over credibility and reputation. Harry's lawyer, David Sherborne, is said to be working urgently to defend the remaining 13 disputed articles still tied to the lawsuit. But without the central witness who once anchored the claims, the legal structure supporting the case now looks dangerously fragile. Across the United Kingdom, the headlines have changed tone dramatically. The focus is no longer just on tabloid practices. Instead, the conversation is turned toward the Duke himself and the escalating consequences of a legal gamble that appears to be unraveling inside the royal courts of justice. Some commentators say Harry may have underestimated the legal firepower of the institution he chose to challenge. What was meant to be a decisive smoking gun moment has instead exploded in the opposite direction. The backlash has left questions hanging over his public image, his finances, and the credibility of the claims presented in court. And the pressure did not stop there. At 9 a.m. inside Buckingham Palace, a courier reportedly delivered a document that palace officials would later describe as extraordinary. With the privacy case collapsing and legal costs piling up beyond $10 million, Harry's California-based legal team made a dramatic move. They submitted a formal request for reimbursement to the keeper of the privy purse, demanding that King Charles III immediately cover a staggering $59 million in costs. The reasoning behind the request, according to sources familiar with the filing, was bold, and many inside royal circles viewed it as an astonishing attempt to shift responsibility for the financial fallout. Prince Harry's justification for the massive bill stunned even seasoned royal observers. According to documents described by insiders, Harry argued that the royal family had failed to protect his reputation when he was younger. Because of that, he claimed his current legal fight was essentially correcting years of damage created by the monarchy's silence. In his view, the institution, and especially King Charles III, would ultimately benefit from the outcome of the lawsuit. Harry's legal representatives pushed this argument even further. They claimed that by dragging the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday into court, Harry was exposing alleged media misconduct that had targeted the royal family for years. In other words, they framed the lawsuit as a battle being fought for the crown itself. And if the monarchy was the real beneficiary, they argued, then the monarchy should also carry the financial burden. But when officials inside the royal treasury reportedly reviewed the detailed invoice, the reaction was disbelief. According to internal leaks, the document read less like a standard legal bill and more like an extravagant wish list. Line after line revealed charges that critics say suggest Harry has lost touch with financial reality. The first major entry was labeled the Sherborne factor, $15 million. This amount allegedly covered the long-term legal retainer for attorney David Sherborne and a large research team who spent years digging through media archives. Ironically, some of that research is now being questioned because of the controversy surrounding evidence presented during the case. Next came the A&L Indemnity Fund, totaling $12 million. This portion was essentially a preemptive demand that the palace cover the exact amount Harry might be ordered to pay Associated Newspapers Limited if the publisher wins its legal battle. In other words, the bill asked the Monarchy to cover the potential consequences of Harry losing the lawsuit. Then came one of the most controversial entries, the honor restoration surcharge, listed at $10 million. According to insiders, this figure was calculated by Harry himself as the supposed value of the time and effort he spent defending the Windsor family name in public battles with the media. The spending list continued with $5 million for private security logistics, including chartered flights and around-the-clock protection during Harry's visits to the United Kingdom. This is particularly sensitive because the UK government previously removed publicly funded security for Harry after he stepped back from official royal duties. Yet the invoice reportedly suggested the king should privately cover those costs. And then came the most shocking line item of all, opportunity cost and income gap, totaling $17 million. In this section, Harry allegedly argued that the time and stress caused by the trial prevented him from pursuing new entertainment deals in the United States. Critics immediately seized on this claim, saying it effectively asked King Charles to subsidize a struggling Hollywood career. The palace response arrived within hours of the invoice landing at Buckingham Palace. Fresh from his visit to Northwood Military Headquarters, King Charles authorized a statement that insiders described as both a legal shield and a deeply personal message. A senior palace official summarized the position bluntly. The king remains a father, but he is first the sovereign. The briefing continued with an unmistakable warning. According to the palace, private legal battles pursued by a non-working member of the royal family, especially when undertaken against the advice of the crown, remain the sole responsibility of that individual. The statement went even further. It argued that suggesting the British public or the monarch's private estate should pay for such a dispute was not only legally unfounded, but ethically unacceptable. Palace insiders noted that the phrase describing the lawsuit as a suicide mission appeared to echo language Harry himself once used in his memoir, Spare. The reference was seen as a sharp reminder that the palace had been closely following the courtroom developments, including the damaging reversal by witness Gavin Burrows. In other words, the message from the king was unmistakable. Buckingham Palace would not finance a legal fight surrounded by questions about evidence and credibility. Prince Harry had placed a massive bet on the outcome of the lawsuit against Associated Newspapers Limited, and it was a gamble that now appears to be collapsing in spectacular fashion. The entire strategy depended on the possibility of a huge settlement that could erase legal costs and deliver a financial victory. But when that expected payout vanished and was replaced by the possibility of more than $10 million in legal debt, Harry reportedly turned to the last source of wealth he believed might help, the royal family he had spent years publicly criticizing. The humiliation surrounding the situation only grew worse because of Harry's own public statements just days earlier. Standing confidently before cameras, he had declared that the case would reshape the British media landscape and insisted victory was practically guaranteed. That bold confidence now stands in sharp contrast to the reported $59 million demand sent privately to Buckingham Palace. As of the afternoon of March 4th, 2026, the palace response was unmistakable. Not only was the request rejected outright, but sources say officials also signaled that repeated attempts to pursue the money through legal pressure could trigger a counteraction from royal lawyers. Some palace insiders even warned that further claims might be treated as vexatious litigation, a legal term used for cases considered abusive or without proper grounds. The message being delivered to Harry was blunt and impossible to misinterpret. The responsibility for the lawsuit rests entirely with him. The financial consequences, whatever they may become, are not something the Crown intends to absorb. But while the financial crisis was already shaking Harry's world, another shockwave soon followed, one that struck much closer to home. For years, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie were often described by royal watchers as Harry's final bridge back to the House of Windsor. They were believed to be among the few relatives who maintained warm communication with the Duke and Duchess after their move to California. Then, on the afternoon of March 4th, a revelation emerged that stunned royal insiders. Reports suggested that Princess Beatrice had stepped forward with critical information connected to the growing tensions within the royal family. According to palace sources, King Charles himself quietly indicated through senior aides that the Crown's hardened position toward Harry was influenced by intelligence that had come from inside the family. That information reportedly came in the form of a digital dossier delivered by Beatrice to the King's private secretary. The file allegedly contained encrypted messages and email exchanges that hinted at a controversial alliance forming behind the scenes between Prince Harry and Prince Andrew. According to leaks circulating among royal commentators, the messages suggested that the two men, both feeling marginalized by recent changes within the monarchy, had discussed coordinating legal and media pressure against the palace. The idea, insiders claim, was to create a wave of overlapping controversies that would strain the palace's communications operation and force negotiations with the king. In this alleged strategy, Harry's lawsuit against the tabloids would serve one role, while Andrew's own legal and reputational battles would create additional pressure. Together, the scandals could overwhelm the palace and push the monarchy toward concessions, including financial relief for Harry and the restoration of certain privileges connected to Andrew. Sources familiar with the situation claim Princess Beatrice's decision to share the material was driven not by revenge, but by self-preservation. The pressure surrounding her father had intensified dramatically following Prince Andrew's arrest on February 19, 2026, tied to newly unsealed documents connected to the Epstein investigation. That development reportedly placed the York family under enormous public scrutiny. Faced with the possibility that hidden communications could surface later, Beatrice may have chosen to act before the situation spiraled further. According to commentators discussing the leaks, continuing to protect the alleged coordination between Harry and Andrew risked dragging both her and her sister Eugenie into a damaging storm of controversy. The messages reportedly suggested that Harry encouraged Andrew to resist the king's demand to leave Royal Lodge, promising that a courtroom victory against the Daily Mail could deliver the financial resources needed to support Andrew's legal battles. The expectation was that a potential $50 million settlement from the lawsuit could help fund a joint legal defense effort. But that plan depended entirely on Harry winning his case. And with the lawsuit now unraveling inside the royal courts of justice, the projected financial war chest has vanished. At the same time, additional pressure has been building around the York family following reports that Sarah Ferguson's charity, Sarah's Trust, closed operations on February 3rd, 2026. Princess Beatrice reportedly saw the warning signs long before the situation exploded in public. According to sources familiar with the palace tension, She realized that Harry's escalating legal fight was turning into what some insiders were calling a suicide mission. The fear inside the York circle was simple. If the controversy kept growing, it could drag the entire family into the same storm. By stepping forward to King Charles III, Beatrice effectively separated herself and her sister from the chaos, reportedly handing over the details of Harry's alleged plans in exchange for stability and protection for the York branch of the family. Once the Beatrice dossier reached the palace, the response was said to be swift and uncompromising. Royal insiders claim that Princess Anne, often viewed as the monarchy's toughest internal operator, began moving quickly to enforce the king's next steps. One of the most dramatic consequences reportedly involves Royal Lodge, the longtime residence associated with Prince Andrew. For years, the enormous 30-room mansion had seemed untouchable. But after the revelations about Andrew's alleged coordination with Harry, palace sources say the property became the target of what insiders describe as a quiet but determined restructuring plan. Princess Anne is believed to be overseeing discussions about transforming the estate into a more secure residence for working members of the royal family, potentially including Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie. For Prince Harry, the emotional impact of the situation could be just as severe as the legal consequences. He reportedly trusted his cousins to remain neutral figures inside the royal network, people who could quietly keep him informed about conversations within palace walls. Learning that Princess Beatrice had been documenting communications and passing them to the king is said to have delivered a devastating psychological blow. Instead of maintaining a discreet connection inside the monarchy, Harry now finds himself cut off from it entirely. According to royal commentators, King Charles has effectively left him in a state of total political and personal isolation within the royal structure. The fallout has not remained limited to Britain. Across the Atlantic in Montecito, California, the shock of the palace response and the alleged Beatrice revelations has reportedly triggered a communications freeze inside Harry's circle. The realization that the palace may have known about certain plans for months has shaken the Duke's remaining support network. The irony, observers say, is striking. For years, Harry accused members of the royal establishment of leaking information about him to the press. Now, critics argue that he is being viewed within his own family as someone who attempted to leak strategies, only to be outmaneuvered and exposed by a cousin he trusted. With Beatrice stepping away from the situation, many analysts say the quiet understanding that once existed between the York and Sussex camps has now collapsed completely. The York sisters appear to be focusing on rebuilding relations with King Charles and Prince William, especially with an eye toward protecting the future roles and reputations of their own children. That leaves Harry standing increasingly alone on the global stage, facing legal uncertainty, financial pressure, and a family network that appears more distant than ever. But while the royal machinery in London was steadily dismantling Harry's position, another crisis was unfolding thousands of miles away behind the gates of the Sussex residence in California. As news spread about the rejected $59 million demand and the alleged Beatrice revelations, the internal dynamics of Brand Sussex reportedly hit a breaking point. According to sources in both Hollywood and Silicon Valley, Meghan Markle's advisors began quietly implementing what insiders describe as a brand decoupling strategy. The goal is simple but ruthless: protect Meghan's independent ventures from the growing legal and financial fallout surrounding Harry's case. The calculation, insiders say, has shifted dramatically. What once looked like a united front, us against the world, is now being reframed as protecting Meghan's business interests from Harry's mounting legal risks. As Harry's lawsuit entered what many observers call its self-destruct phase, Meghan reportedly began signaling distance to investors and partners. One major concern is the $10 to $12 million in potential legal costs that Harry could be ordered to pay if the case continues to collapse. Because many of the couple's assets are based in the United States, advisors have reportedly encouraged Meghan to legally ring-fence her personal earnings and business ventures. This includes projects connected to her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, along with separate entertainment production deals. Inside Meghan's professional circle, the $59 million invoice sent to King Charles was reportedly viewed as a dramatic last-ditch move that raised serious doubts about Harry's long-term value as a commercial partner. One source close to the California network surrounding the couple summarized the situation bluntly. Meghan is a strategist. She sees the data. Harry's truth has become a liability that no streaming service or publisher wants to touch. If he's going down for $59 million, she isn't going down with him. Unlike earlier court appearances where Harry and Meghan presented a carefully staged united front, this time the Duke was left walking the halls of the Royal Courts of Justice alone. While Harry dealt with the legal fallout in London, Meghan was reportedly attending high-profile solo business meetings in Los Angeles, focusing on wellness, empowerment, and luxury lifestyle ventures, topics worlds away from Harry's escalating fight with the British tabloids. Observers say this shift is more than scheduling. It looks like a calculated rebranding move. By creating distance from the angry prince narrative surrounding the lawsuit, Meghan appears to be protecting her reputation as a global influencer while financial pressure grows around the couple. With potential legal costs climbing toward $10 to $12 million, the stakes around their Montecito lifestyle have suddenly become very real. The situation worsened when reports surfaced that Princess Beatrice had exposed Harry's alleged coordination with Prince Andrew. Meghan had reportedly spent years building connections with the York sisters as friendly links to the royal world. Now, those ties appear completely severed. In elite circles where influence and connections matter most, insiders say the Sussex brand suddenly looks far less appealing. That shift is already influencing strategy in California. Talent advisors are reportedly encouraging Meghan to focus strictly on her own story and projects, avoiding references to royal drama altogether. What once carried prestige now risks being associated with lawsuits and financial controversy. As of March 4th, 2026, the divide inside Montecito is no longer just gossip, it's becoming a business calculation. While Harry continues battling accusations about unreliable evidence and courtroom setbacks, Meghan is reportedly focused on protecting her ventures and future deals. The era of the royal safety net for Prince Harry is officially over. As he faces growing financial pressure and legal fallout, the monarchy has already moved forward with striking efficiency. The space once occupied by Harry and the controversies surrounding Prince Andrew has been filled by a new generation of working royals stepping into the spotlight. At the center of that shift are Prince Edward and Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, who have quietly taken on many of the patronages and public duties that Harry once held. Their steady presence has strengthened the monarchy's working core, while the institution itself becomes more streamlined and tightly focused around Prince William and Catherine. Behind the scenes, the restructuring goes even deeper. Princess Anne, often seen as the monarchy's toughest internal organizer, has reportedly overseen major changes involving royal properties. One of the most symbolic moves is the final transition surrounding Royal Lodge, a residence long associated with Prince Andrew. The property is now being repurposed as part of the Crown's effort to reorganize royal assets and reinforce a smaller, disciplined working structure within the family. But beyond the political shifts and property changes lies a deeply personal story. Prince Harry was once one of the most popular members of the royal family, admired by the public and seen as a modernizing force within the monarchy. Now, after years of public disputes, lawsuits, and bitter headlines, he finds himself standing outside the institution he once represented. In the United States, the Harry and Meghan brand has also taken a major hit. Reports of a strategic brand separation have left Harry increasingly isolated in the public narrative, while Meghan focuses on protecting her independent ventures and partnerships. For many observers, the events of early 2026 have become a cautionary tale about ambition, conflict, and the risks of escalating public battles. Harry's legal fight with the media, his attempt to shift $59 million in costs toward the monarchy, and the collapse of key evidence in court have combined into a moment that may permanently shape his legacy. Financially, the consequences could be severe, with combined legal fees and potential penalties reportedly approaching tens of millions of dollars. Socially and politically, the distance between Harry and the senior members of the royal family appears wider than ever. As the legal drama surrounding the royal courts of justice moves toward its conclusion, one thing has become clear. The story of the prince who challenged the system did uncover a truth, just not the one he expected. Critics argue that the greatest damage to Harry's reputation did not come from the tabloids, but from the chain of choices that led him into this escalating conflict. Prince Harry still carries the title Duke of Sussex, but the world around him has changed dramatically. The royal institution has moved forward, the alliances have shifted, and the consequences of this battle are now impossible to ignore. If you made it this far, let me know what you think about this situation. Drop a comment below, share your thoughts, and tell me whose side you're on in this royal drama. And if you want more deep dives into stories like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.